Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got a review of my Seiko SBBN007 Tuna. Before I start, please, if you like the content of my channel, like and subscribe. And if you leave any comments below, I'll try and get back to them as soon as I can. So anyway, straight on with the review. This is what's classified as one of the 300 meter tuners. I did a review on my Daft Tuna a couple of months back, and that's classified as the 1000 meter tuner. There is a difference, and I'll go into that. But first things first, the case size of this watch is a whopping 47.2 mil in diameter. We've got 15 mil thick. We've got a lug width here of 22, but actual lug to lug is only just over 44 mil. So lots of people hear that first number, 47.2, and that's it. Immediately don't want to know. But honestly, this watch wears a lot smaller than you'd believe. So don't get hung on that. I'll compare it with some other watches in a second and you'll get to see. But the main specs of this watch, obviously it's one of Seiko's dive watches. Therefore it's got a rotating bezel and a very nice rotating bezel. Sounds really nice. It's partly shrouded by this shroud here to help protect the bezel. There we go. It's unidirectional, obviously. Now the reason why it gets the name the Tuna is because of this shroud which goes around it here. This shroud, which is held in with 3 screws. Be aware these are not the original screws. I actually brought some aftermarket ones. I do have the originals. These are a Torque style screw. The original were a crosshead, and I just simply prefer the look of these. I still have the old ones. So this shroud protects the watch from knocks. If you are if you're actually using this watch, what it's for, or in daily life, it protects it anyway. It's stainless steel and it's been bead blasted. Now as I say, on this watch, it is a hardcore diver. They used to have automatic movements, but they basically, Seiko, the divers got back to them and basically said, with feedback, we like a quartz movement for actually what we're going to use here. So these do use a quartz movement. The quartz movement though is only for this watch. It's the 7C46. It's a 7 dual movement. Battery life is approximately 5 years, and it will give you an end of life warning, like I put on a previous video with my Zin. It's fully serviceable. It's very accurate. I have had a couple of quartz watches which are pretty damn useless with accuracy, where this is very good. It's not stated as a Kosh movement, but it is very, very close. So the movement wise is fantastic. It uses hard lux instead of sapphire, which is Seiko's own proprietary hardened mineral glass, and it's domed, and it gives a real nice sort of like reflections and distortions of the dial, which I really like. I have no problems with this. The 1000 meter tuners normally have the sapphire with AR coating. Honestly, I in some ways prefer this just for the looks, because my Daft Tuna had the sapphire and I actually prefer this. It does have a more traditional style case in that it does have a case back, whereas the 1000 meters don't. It's all it's a monocoque design, so all the internals go through the front, which is great if you intend to use it for deep, for its actual purpose of real deep sea diving. But for 99% of users, I honestly believe this is better. Reason being is, when I brought this watch, I brought it in an auction years ago, and basically the battery was starting to go. So all I did, unscrewed it back, got to the battery, replaced the battery, brought a new gasket, fitted the new gasket and tightened it back up. So you can fit the battery on this yourself. It is incredibly easy, where the 1000 meters you can't, as you have to go through the front, and unless you've got the right kit, that ain't gonna happen. I wouldn't anyway. The loom on this watch is legendary. It's a Seiko. What can I say? It is like a beacon in the middle of the night. So yeah, you've got no problem with the actual loom. It does show the day date. I actually have it in Japanese at the moment, because you can't read it, but it does look incredibly good. It looks quite funky. This isn't the original bracelet. This is a strap code Engineer 2. I'll do a separate review on this, but I think for this watch, it just suits it really well. When it comes to things like that, this is quite interesting. On the side, everyone else sees, when it's on your wrist, the lugs, which are these tiny little things here all polished, are filled. But on the inner side, they're drilled, which does make strap changes very quick and easy. I say this is the SBBN007, which is quite fitting, as James Bond has actually wore a tuna on one of the Bond movies. In fact, it was Roger Moore wore it in, I think it was 1981, for Your Eyes Only. It was on his wrist briefly. I think it was a golden tuna, but still, nonetheless, it was a Seiko tuna. Now, this one, the 007, I believe it was the first tuna to use the 7C46 movement, and this originally came out in 1986. So the design is back from, I say, the 80s, but it looks great. I really like this watch. Obviously, the newer versions have slightly different hands and the Prospex logo on the crown. Lots of people, the real diehards, don't like that. I have no problem with it myself, but yeah, each to their own. I say, out of all the tuners I've seen, this is still my favourite tuner. I still think that this early one is one of the best looking ones. I've got no problem with it at all. Interesting little side fact, I do know someone who once pressure tested one of these. He was certain that it would do double what it states. So a watchmaker didn't have a movement inside and basically tested the case. And it's true, it made it to 600 meters, but when they got it out, they found out that it deformed the back. So, 300 meters is conservative, but realistically, I'd rather have 300 meters and safety standards left in place. Now, pluses and minuses, everything I think about a watch is a plus. The one good thing is, it's a dive watch which isn't pretending to be a Rolex Submariner like most. This is definitely well out there and something different. If I was to have maybe, I'm trying to think of any negatives. If I was, sometimes it is a little bit hard to fit different bracelets on this watch because there's not much space here. Now, as you can see, these have to be incredibly rounded. From strap code, their bracelet's actually 21.5 for this watch. They actually allow it a little bit of space to move. So fitting certain bracelets doesn't always work. But size. Now, as I said before, lots of people don't like this because they say that it's far too big. But if I compare this to, say, let's say a 42mm watch, here on the left we have a Larco Arcan. Now, there's not much difference. Or if I say, even let's say, in thickness, there's not much in it at all. The numbers really don't justice. Even if I compare it to a 40mm Rolex. Now, as soon as you say, 47, 48mm, the watch is immediately too big. But when you look at these two watches together, there really isn't much difference. If I put it on my wrist now, I'm wearing a Panerai 177 on a rather oversized strap and a strap culture custom big buckle on the end of it. But even there, that's a 44mm watch and 47. Now if I show it on my wrist, Now, as I've said before, my wrist size is a fraction over 7 inches, or 18 centimeters, about there. It doesn't look overly big or anything. And as I say, when you see it here, it does sit quite snugly against your wrist. So the extra few mil back here does blend into your wrist. So really, you probably only got a case size of around about 13 mil sticking out. So I'm not going to say this is a great watch for wearing with a shirt, but you could always put a nice black leather strap on there and still wear it with something like that. So I wouldn't really, the sizes, don't be put off by the larger sizes. I know people will say, no, it's far too big, but when you see it on my wrist, or you see it compared to a 40mm Batman, it really doesn't look that much bigger. So, yeah, there you go. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That was my quick review of my Seiko Tuna. If you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and get back to you. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and see you at the next one. Stay safe. Bye.